Well, you're getting yourself all prepared for your next game, Dave. Of course, a couple of more training sessions to go. It's going to be a completely different sort of game than you played last time out. What do you do in terms of how you prepare your players for that type of opposition that are coming in the MK Dons?
I think you can't focus too much on the opposition. I think that's the first thing. I keep saying it. We're developing our own team, our own way. We just had a chat there in the office about what we do and whether it's specific to MK Dons or whether it's concentrating on us. And I said, look, we've got to make sure we concentrate on us. That's not being disrespectful to a team in the playoffs. I think, last week we wasn't disrespectful to Wickham in our preparations. But we've got to make sure that our priorities remain on ourselves. You could say, as a team, as a club, as a manager, it's easier to prepare for games like this because they're closer to us. But then, that's you can be made to look foolish if you say something like that. So you've got to be careful, because I think last week, like I say, I think Wickham are very much up and at you in your faces, physically imposing. That's not to say that any of them are bad traits, because when you start talking like that, people think it's a criticism. It's not. It's just the way they play and their DNA. So you've got to make sure that you can't make someone strong in a week. It's impossible. You can't make them have the nuance to win contested duels. There'll be contested duels on Saturday, but probably fewer. So we've got to make sure that we certainly don't dismiss MK Dons like we didn't dismiss Wickham. But we've got to make sure that we are still developing us, and that's important. So we will do work on them today. We will, but the emphasis will still be on ourselves, like it was this time last week.
When you've got a week from your last game, of course, and it was a cruel way that it all ended. Every footballer is different how they take all that. How do you look at it with certain players? Are you looking into them to make sure there's no grey clouds hanging over them, it gets out of their system straight away?
Yeah, I think when you had someone from the FA with me on Saturday, and when I spoke to him after the game, he said you were very dignified in the dressing room. And I think that might have shocked him, I don't know. But I think I'm always dignified to the players. So that win, lose or draw, they know that, yes, every now and again there's a bit of emotion. But there's no point me losing my rag because we've lost in the last minute or the 78th minute or whatever it might be. You've got to remain rational and calm and sensible and methodical. So, and I think when you are that way, and you manage that way, and you coach that way, players understand that whatever you say, you're actually helping them. Even though all defeats hurt, but some hurt more than others. So when you are objective in your approach, if you like, I think the players go, right, okay, well, I understand what he's trying to say, or at least I think I do, or if I don't, then I'll ask. And there's no, I don't know, there's another defeat, and oh my God, this is, there's no depression setting in, or clouds and what have you. There's we are still going to get better, and I think whatever that remains, then that's only a positive thing, because we'll get better. And that's the same now as it was at the start of the season.
Really, leading up to that, next question would be how are you viewing those players, how they are taking it? And it seems to me as though that you're all on the same hymn sheet, that you know exactly where you're going.
Yeah, well, we scored a goal. Was it 27 passes on Saturday? Yeah. So I don't know what the number was. I've seen 3 different numbers. I don't think there's many teams that can do that. It's the first time this year, and it's took us a while to get here. Are we trying to score every goal like that? Well, no, it won't work like that. But there's not many teams that can do that, and that comes with practice, and that comes with unwavering belief from my part in the players that they can do that. You know, unstinting belief in the players' own abilities. You know, their mindset. So we know that we've improved. We've got a long way to go still, but we're getting there. And that's, you know, your first question: how do you prepare for MK Dons? I'm saying we will, best we can, but we've got to, you know, come at it more of a two-pronged approach this season to every game, because we've got to keep maintaining our development and progression, as well as, you know, having done enough work for what's coming next on a Saturday afternoon or Tuesday night. So, you know, we're getting there, but we've got to keep maintaining that, and the players are still fully on board, because they know that I'm not going to put clouds over them. I'm not going to treat them unfairly. I'm going to treat them properly. I'm going to help them at the end of the day, and that's important.
You and your staff will lead from the front on match days and all through the build-up. Out on the pitch, are you trying to get a bit more out of one or two of your experienced players? You haven't got too many experienced players, but do you want them to be more leaders out there to try and help, or how do you view that?
I don't think you can have too many leaders. You can have too many of one type. So I think you've got to be careful of what you want from them in terms of types of leadership. You know, Perry was a leader last year, never said a word. He was the quietest man you could imagine. You know, he led by action. You know, and I don't mind leading by action at all. I don't mind a baller, but you can't have 10 ballers, because you get anarchy, you get absolute chaos. So you've got to make sure that players' own character, they feel the freedom to say what they can say, and some of them do, which is fine. Is it right at the right time? Sometimes it's not, but at least they're having a go. So you're trying to. That's another sort of development strand that comes with security. What I mean by security, I mean knowing that you're good enough to play at the level, knowing that you've seen enough, that you probably know what the answer is, and you're confident enough to express your opinion in the heat of the battle, or the heat of training or whatever. So there's a few things, a few hurdles that you have to get over before that stuff starts coming out, and even then it might not come out because you might not be that kind of character. So you've got to understand and accept as a manager that sometimes with youngish players, you're not going to get that. You know, the case in point was Wickham's second goal on Saturday. You know, I'm not going to speak about individual players, but what I would say is that I would hope that the players in question in 3 or 4 years' time wouldn't do what they did in the 95th minute, when 95 minutes has been said to play. You know, so frustrating, of course, going grey, yes, all them things, but youthful exuberance also is a good thing. So you've got to temper my own frustrations with the fact that you have to try and educate them as opposed to squash them.
You were a lot harder to beat at the weekend. I know it didn't. In the end, you were beaten, but there's been a lot of factors behind why you've not been able to get a settled team. All sorts of things have gone that way. You've changed a few little systems now and then. The 5-3-2 sort of system, do you think at the moment, although you don't want to give too much away for the opposition, is beneficial to the group of players that you've got now?
I think whenever we pick a team and a formation, we try and do it to the benefit of all 11 and 3 subs that will come on the pitch, potentially come on the pitch. So we've got to. We're not experimenting. You know, towards the back end of last season, we were doing things. You know, we went to Fleetwood and threw 3-5-2 at them the day before and said, "Go on, cope," and they did admirably. But then we haven't got, you know, all them players with us. So there's always things to learn whether you're picking the same team in the same formation, can they do it again? Can they replicate that performance? Or different players in different formations. So we'll try and we will pick a team to hopefully win the game in a formation that hopefully wins the game as well. And whether that's 3 at the back or 4 or 6 or 2, So that's always the bottom line on that one.
Whatever team you do select, you know exactly what type of game you're going to come up with on Saturday from your point of view and from the opposition's point of view.
Yeah, of course. Look, they haven't changed their philosophy. They've got a director of football who's young, keen, and eager, and good. And they've appointed a manager that's had a bit of experience over in America and a bit in 6 months in Belgium. And he's come in and he's picked up where Russell left off. So I'm sure that they're still finding their feet slightly, but they might have 15, 20 games in now. So they play the right way. I believe the right way, and it'll be a good game of football.
The emphasis is on you because there's 2 games coming up, both at home.
Yeah, we've got about 6 at home, I think.
Yeah, coming short. Yeah.
So on the 4 or 5, 6 on the spin. So we know we've got a great opportunity to pick up some points and start climbing the table.